welcome back to the Fan House Podcast. From you see the face and hear the voice, you know it's Javon, and I'm back with a one-on-one with Javon. And today we're leaving London and we're going to Manchester. Going to the red side of Manchester. We have one of the biggest voices in the Manchester United content creation space. One of the most level-headed people. Someone that I can actually have a conversation with, even though I hate these lot, as you all know. Big up. Him might have a few flaws, probably supporting Manchester United, but big up Flawless. Well, go on, brother.
Hey, big up. First and foremost, blessed for having me. Appreciate it. Secondly, I appreciate the intro as well, man. I appreciate the intro for real. And you lot, make sure you run up the likes, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. And looking forward to the show.
Yeah, man. Yeah, welcome, Flawless. It's good to have you. I know we've been kind of planning this and we've been missing each other, but we're finally here. All right, so let's get into it. First question, why Manchester United?
Born into it. Like you mentioned there about leaving London and coming to Manchester. I'm Manc born and bred, for those that don't know. I'm Manchester born and bred. Born here, lived here all my life, worked here, primary school, high school, college, work, the whole nine. And my entire Manchester United, my entire family is Manchester United fans. So my generation, all my brothers, sisters, cousins, all Manchester United fans. My mum, my dad, uncles, aunts, all Manchester United fans. The generation below me, my nieces, nephews, younger cousins, my cousins' kids, all Manchester United fans as well. I had one aunt who was a Manchester City fan, and that's because she literally lived in front of Main Road. For those that don't know, that's the old City Stadium. Like literally, and this is like way before they became the Manchester City they are now. I'm talking about Division 1, Division 2, Manchester City. Like, so before, most people don't even know about them outside of Manchester. So yeah, that's why I'm a Manchester United fan. Born into it, no choice, like a religion.
So yeah, so kind of, it's in your DNA.
Yes.
You actually bleed red.
It's in my DNA.
Okay, cool. At what point did, obviously you said you were kind of grandfathered into it.
Yeah.
At what point did you resonate with the sport of football as it pertains to Manchester United?
From young, because like I said there, I'm born into it. So I'm watching football and being told about football and hearing conversations about football before I even understand what's going on. I'm 5, 6, 7 years old, hearing my mum, my uncles, my aunts having conversations. And then obviously the friends in the circle, not only are we outside playing football, because it's long before the social media era, is when we used to go outside to play. So we outside playing football, talking about football. In school, in particular primary school, you're out on playtime, you're playing football as well. These times, your consoles, you're playing football. So it's football related, you're playing. I remember playing FIFA 98 Road to the World Cup. I remember playing FIFA 99, FIFA 2000. Yes, I'm
some
sure.
Pixelated man, I don't know.
Yeah, the pixelated on the PS1. I remember playing FIFA 96. I remember on the Super Nintendo playing. What was the game? There was an infamous game on the Super Nintendo. I can't remember. It was a World Cup game though. And like if one player on the team was black, they're all black. Or if one player on the team was white, they're all white. Yeah. Like them times. So that's what it was. So it's just football. Then you got Match of the Day over here, obviously in the UK, which is a massive show, and that would show all the highlights. And bear in mind, again, this is before social media. Man, on teletext trying to check if the games were live as well. So I remember from early 5, 6, 7 years old, knowing about football, knowing about certain players.
Okay, cool. So let's take the people on a journey that's watching and listening to this. Everybody, you could have family members that supports the same team, obviously, but another faction to that is they're different generation. What was your birth generation to Manchester United? Where, I hear my grandfather talking about this, but this is my version of Manchester United. And this is where I fell in love with Manchester United.
It's easy to fall in love with it because I always say I was very, very fortunate. And my pops tells me this all the time. From when I was young, all the way up until now. So for me, from being a kid, all the way up until being a grown adult, my pops tells me all this time, you were lucky. Because he's like, I was literally born into the golden era. Like I was born into Sir Alex Ferguson, and not even Sir Alex Ferguson taking over and going through the struggles. Because for those that don't know, Sir Alex Ferguson had struggle years at Manchester United.
Yeah,
He wasn't instantly
He was about to
successful.
get fired.
He was close to the sack. I missed all of that because I was born 90. You know what I'm saying? I was born early 90s. I'm literally 95, 96. That's the golden era for Manchester United. So it's easy, especially as a kid, to be born into success. So you're seeing Cantona, who's like the pinnacle and the catalyst and the face of the Premier League at that point. So it's really easy to acclimatize to that because it's success. Man's talking hella rugby. You can't talk to me. We the best team in the country. We were in Premier League.
You can't talk
we
to
were
me.
the doubles. You can't chat to me. Especially you can't talk to me. Like no one there was in primary school. There's the odd Arsenal fan because Arsenal had some success. Liverpool fan as well, but that was pretty much it. Everybody's Manchester United because we're a juggernaut at that point because of what's going on. So my generation, like I said, is earliest Cantonas. Then you get the class of '92 alongside of that. You get Andy Cole alongside of that, Roy Keane, etc. Dennis Irwin. The list goes on.
So, yeah. So you said you were damn. I was never that lucky. I just thinking about it because you know my affiliations. But growing up in that era, what player did you kind of attach yourself to? Because again, it's a golden era. Everybody on the team is performing. They're bringing home trophies. So at this point, it's not like a default case where when your team is doing well. Like in this era, your team is doing well. It's typically one player that stands out. Back then, you had 4 or 5, 6 players that you could, hang your hat on and say, "That's my guy." So who was that player for you at that time?
It was Cantona initially. Because Cantona was Manchester United because he was the catalyst for the team and the success. And then you got to remember as well, again, I've stated this a lot during this, social media is not around, so it's only the news story. Got to remember things like him kicking the fan at Palace. That's 1995. That's spoken about. That's a mad thing to happen. And if that happened in this era, of course it would be a massive news story. But back then, when you're not getting, there's no extras. There's no other.
It was just the newspaper.
Stories. Literally just the newspapers, match of the day, teletext. That's it. So when Cantona's kicked the fan, you're a kid. What? He flying kicked the fan. Like, and it's in the paper. Like, there's literally a picture of him with the flying kick. Big picture in the paper of him with that, which is hilarious. And then him punching the fan. So for me, first and foremost, Cantona, and he scored. Like, one of my earliest memories is him scoring the goal against Liverpool in the FA Cup final when we beat them 1-0, which I believe was like 96. And it was one where it dropped to him on the edge of the box and he scored. And I didn't watch that game live, but watching the highlights, that goal resonated with me because 1, it's Liverpool, and 2, you've won as the FA Cup, and 3, it was a great goal as well. So definitely Cantona, because he was the first person I remember who was like bigger than football type of thing. Like you get a lot of them now. Certain players transcend football. He was the first for me who transcended football. And then after him, it was Andy Cole.
Okay.
Andy Cole, 100%.
Still haven't heard Beckham's name, but we keep going.
You know why it was for me? Because Beckham was slightly later. That's what it was. Because the class I'm talking Cantona.
Core. So at this point, your core golden era. Not
I'm saying initially. So this is just before the class of '92 became the. You know what I'm saying? This is because you got to understand the class of '92 really became a thing. Like it was around the you don't win anything with kids era. Whereas Cantona, Cole was like slightly before that. Even though we say class of '92, and it's like even though they were similar times, it's. Well, Beckham's a right midfielder at that point. I'm a kid.
Yeah. He's playing out.
That's what it is. That's not even no disrespect to Beckham. I rate Beckham highly. Keane, one of my favorite players of all time, as is Scholes. I'm a kid. Man's not trying to be a central midfielder or a right midfielder. Goals.
Man, I try to play a ball and score a goal,
wants to be a striker. No one ain't talking about as a kid, but I can only speak for me. As a kid, I ain't thinking about goalkeeper, centre backs, full backs, central midfielders, left midfielder, or right midfielder. I ain't thinking about all that. I'm as a kid, goals. Oh, where do you want to play up front? Everyone wants to be a striker because that's who got all the glory.
Yeah, but isn't there a conversation to be had that back then the quality and the level, the quality, quantity, and level of strikers back then? Why wouldn't you want to be a striker when you see so much people doing it at that level? Versus now, good strikers are few and far between. So, Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
going
strikers,
forward,
because everyone wants to be like, when I'm outside, everyone wants to be up front. It's about strikers, and
everybody
obviously
want to score a
Cantona.
goal.
Yeah, everyone wants to score the goals, whereas Cantona and Cole were the first two strikers that I remember at Manchester United. Obviously, there was other strikers, but like Brian McClare, slightly before
Mhm,
my time. Mark Hughes, vaguely remember,
mhm.
even though both top quality strikers and did the business. But Cantona, for obvious reasons, because of the goals he scored, and Cole as well. Yo, it's good to see a black man out there bagging a load of goals. I'm saying, just
Facts.
that's what that is.
Mhm,
And then you go into further in that later on, a few years later, the link up with him and Dwight York as well, and all the success that came with that. But yeah, for me, it was Cantona and
mhm,
Cole. But shout out to the class of '92 because they played a key role as well.
mhm.
They played a key
All
role.
right. So, given that you're a core early success, give us the perspective of young Flawless. Is like take us into the mind of young Flawless when you truly experience your first league win. Now, when I say this, obviously
Yeah,
United were winning at that time, but
yeah,
you know when you reach a certain level of maturity in your youth, and
yeah.
then you are there from match week 1 to the end of the season. You know what? That's truly your first league win. What's it like? Give us that feeling.
You know what's crazy? Even though it wasn't the first league win I remember, and again, I'm not watching games week in, week out in terms of live, because it wasn't like it is now where you have all this accessibility, whereas it was match of the day and its highlights, but you're keeping an eye on results. Like I said,
Yeah,
via
yeah.
teletext. The highlights, you're watching match of the day week in, week out. And even though it wasn't the first one, the most memorable is 99 because of everything that went along with it. Winning the
Because of the
treble.
trouble.
Yeah, it's because of the treble. You're never gonna forget that. Even though I seen us win, I remember a couple of leagues before that.
Mm,
That '99 one kind of wipes that out because of just the importance of everything. Like I still remember that vividly. I still remember the
mm,
game against Spurs. I still remember going a goal down against Spurs and then us bringing it back and winning that game and winning the league. Like those
mm.
type of things. I still remember Arsenal falling away that season because Arsenal had played, well, Arsenal were a good team then, and then falling
Yeah,
away
yeah,
and
yeah.
results going against them. So yeah, with that, more so Manchester United, yeah, it's 99 is the one that really sticks out because of the more it was more important because of the treble, because of the FA
Mhm.
Cup and the Champions League.
Yeah. Who would you say in that year was the standard player for you? For you, not who was given
Yeah,
to, but
yeah,
for
for me,
you.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to have a think. It's tough because there were so many good players, and you mentioned maturity, which is a great word and it's a great question. That's when I started to realize more about the players outside of the strikers. Because again, when you're
Mm-hmm.
young, it's all about the strikers. You don't care about the midfielders and who's assisting and all these things. You know about the
Yeah,
goalkeeper
yeah,
because
yeah. Just go
Schmeichel's an
play a
infamous
ball and score
goalkeeper.
a goal.
But yeah, it's just we've never outside talking about, hey, you know what, Peter Schmeichel, whoo, you know what I'm saying, fire. You know what I'm saying, we never Bruce and Pallister, Dennis Irwin, even though all these players are great. We're not out there talking about them. But in '99, that's when, and obviously this is due to my pops as well because he was very much on this like when I'm having conversations beyond my years because of him. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm asking him questions and he's telling me things. Then when he's having conversations with my uncles and stuff, I'm hearing even more conversation and I'm asking questions. And this is why I knew much more than like a regular kid at that point. Man shouldn't be 8, 9, 10, 11 years old having the conversations I'm having, but you speak so tough.
Exactly.
Man, it's because I'm getting knowledge from people who've seen it all. So in that year, Roy
Mm-hmm.
Keane, he's the standout.
Yeah.
Because one thing,
Mm-hmm.
even though Premier League games were live, Champions League games were live. They used to show
Mm-hmm.
them live. ITV, for those that are in the UK, will know. Legend, like, I wish they bring that back just for nostalgia purposes. And yeah, absolutely A1. So it was Roy Keane for me. In particular, the semi-final game, when we played 2-0 down
Mm-hmm.
to Juventus. And we ended up winning the game 3-2 and obviously getting through to the final and beating Bayern Munich. Roy
Mm-hmm.
Keane was just immense in that game. He was immense.
Yeah, yeah,
Bear in
yeah,
mind,
yeah, yeah.
he's playing against Zidane and Edgar Davids, who are two of the
Mm-hmm.
greats at that point. Because back to that time as well, what's mad is Premier League wasn't shown live here, but Serie A was shown live here.
It showed
So that's
live. Yeah,
why
yeah.
during the 90s and early 2000s, my knowledge of Serie A was just as good as my knowledge of the Premier League because I'm watching it week in, week out. Not only did they do their version of Match of the Day with James Richardson, and this was on Channel 4, they also used to show live games. So the same way I could
Mm.
tell you about a team seventh and eighth or seventh or eighth in the Premier League, I could tell you a team 7 or 8 in the Italian league. This is how I knew
Mm.
about certain players. This is how I knew about Bastua. Fiorentina were a top team. This is how I knew about Crespo and Chiesa and Veron, Cannavaro, Thuram. Like that Parma team was nuts. That's how strong that league was. They were even challenging. Here the players I just listed off. This is how I knew about these players is because of that. So yeah, for me that season, Roy Keane, he was the stand-up. And when you hear all the players talk, they all talk about how great he was as of a captain, just in general.
Yeah. So I and you alluded to it. At that point, you realized, hey, I'm a bit different from my friends because the conversation I'm holding at this age, I'm holding at this age with these adults is kind of developing my soccer IQ and football IQ and football brain faster than what it should be at this point. And that's given to you down by your father, your grandfather, and everyone surrounded by the sport. At that point, did you ever think content creation or maybe going into punditry, anything like that could be a thing for you?
Never anything like that. Because even when we're having conversations, even though I'm much knowledgeable beyond my years, when I look back, at that time, I didn't know that. At that time, I didn't know we was having conversations beyond my years, because it's not just me having these conversations. I with my friends having these conversations. We in primary school having these conversations. When you get to high school, and then there's more of you lot, and there's more fans. That's when there's more Manchester United fans. There's more Arsenal fans. There's more later on Chelsea fans. Because particularly the school I went to, a lot of people of African descent. So a lot of people I spoke to supported Arsenal or Chelsea in particular. They're two of the most successful times in that period alongside Manchester United. The odd Liverpool fan here and there as well. So you're having more conversations. But when I think about it, yes, I'm having conversations beyond my years, but we didn't really know what we were talking about too tough, but we were just giving our opinions. We were just giving our opinions on it. And that's legit how I look at it now. So yeah, I don't think there was never any thought process of going into content creator because it wasn't a thing. You know, I think we talking 2001, 2002, 2000. We talking early 2000s, mid 2000s. This wasn't a thing. So there was no thought process. Like I would have loved to have got into football, but getting into commentaries, there was no. I never knew of anyone. Oh, this is a road in how you get into commentary. That's never been a conversation. There was never anything. There was never any pathways. There was never any platforms like, oh, right, you sign up here and you can be a commentator on TV. There was none of that. So now I never thought about it.
Have you ever, given the household you grew up into, have you ever thought about getting into football, like playing, becoming a pro?
I knew very, very early I wasn't good enough. One thing I'm not, you mentioned that I'm level-headed. I'm not deluded.
Not even try.
I don't even try. Like, you just gotta know. You just gotta know. Like, there's just levels to this. And that's what it is. I knew from very, very early on, because I'm playing outside with my friends. I'm playing, like I said, in primary school, high school. I am fully aware that I am nowhere near the level that needs to be to play professional football. I'm not deluded. I am very, when it comes to that, I'm not one of those who gonna gas it up, be like, yeah, I could have been a pro, knee injury, you know what I'm saying, or my back, or the hamstring, or everyone got
ACL at 12.
Everybody got a story. Everyone's a pro player, but it's like, why did you not play at a high level? And I knew that from I'm not really thinking about. Obviously, you got dreams of it as a kid, but then once I slightly get older,
you're always gonna have dreams of it.
As a kid, once I get to high school, I figure it out. Bear in mind, Danny Welbeck went to my high school, so I'm fully aware of the levels. Yeah. So I played against him as a kid, and levels different. You know what I'm saying? I played against him, played alongside him as well, different level. And even above me, a player called Fabian Brandy, who was also at Manchester United on Manchester United, but he didn't make it at United, but he played professional, different level. That's when you realize, like, oh yeah, these men are on a different planet.
Yeah. Okay, nice. What's it like knowing that you went to school with some of these people that made it? Can you, for someone that's, I guess what I'm trying to say, for the fans like me around the world that didn't grow up in England, that don't go to these schools, what's it like knowing that any one of these people around you at high school at the time could be a top level footballer, and to see some of them make it? What's that like?
Love that. You know what I'm saying? Because not only do I know him from school, because like we weren't tight or anything, but I see him in school, say blessed, like I said, played against him, played in the same team alongside him as well, and he's a cool brother, mad cool brother, not big-headed whatsoever. And everyone knew he was on United's books. Because he was on United's books from young. So the fact, you know what I'm saying, a young black kid from the ends, from the same area, can potentially make it. I salute that. He's a success story. Changed his life, changed his family life. I'm all for that. I'm fully about seeing people succeed and seeing him do that, all for it. And like I said, even Fabian Brandy, who I mentioned, even though he didn't make it at Manchester United, he played professional sport and I'm very, very close to his cousin. So it's like, to see that, love that as well. Like, I'm all for that, man. See young black males succeed at the highest level. Gas for them. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, and that's one thing we don't really have much in our sport. We don't have that. Even this day and age, I'm still yearning for that black top player, if you know what I mean. You know, the yes, people could say you have, yes, no, it's more prominent because you have your people like Mbappe, you have your people like Vinicius Jr. But I'm talking back then. It was very weird to see. Yes, you have your JJ Okocha, but the quantity of top extreme level black players where you could say, you know what, I resonate with him and the whole world knows who he is. And we were yearning for that at that time. Flawless, talk to me about rivalries. Remember, your time rivalry kind of coincides with mine because mine comes at the back end of your golden era, you know. But growing up as a kid, what was rivalries like for you? Who was your biggest top?
Oh, it was Arsenal. That's on the pitch. It's Arsenal. Because we fought for pretty much all of the early Premier League titles, bar 1 or 2. It's United or Arsenal. I swear, is it not a 7 or is it a 6-7 year period where it was Arsenal or United who won the league title?
Yeah.
I think literally from what? Take out Blackburn. So literally from what? From 92 to you lot won it in what? 2004 was it?
Not me, like no. Oh, you mean Chelsea? Yeah, it would be. I think it's 0201 or something like that.
No. When did Chelsea win their first league title under Mourinho?
And I think it's maybe the 04-05 season. If I'm
so
not
you're
mistaken.
basically saying from 92 to 2003. I'm going to double check this in a second. Bar the Blackburn one, it's Manchester United.
Yeah, I know Blackburn kind of like popped up there one season.
Yeah, they had one, but that's the point I'm making. So from 92 to 2003, outside of Blackburn winning one league title, it's United or Arsenal. So they are number one up. They are number one up every time. And them games were blood, thunder, people beefing, people fighting. Everyone knows Keane Vieira. But even before Keane Vieira, I think Andy Cole spoke about this on, I can't remember what interview it was, and he was talking about them man fighting in the tunnel, like early 90s. Like before Keane Vieira. So Arsenal, Manchester United has been a thing from that. And when you got two quality teams, two quality managers, and they're going head to head consistently, it's Arsenal. Arsenal, definitely. Remember, don't get mistaken, Liverpool's still there, but for those that don't know, Manchester, Liverpool, that's a city rival. That the football just adds to that. We're close. They're half an hour, 45-minute drive away from us. Liverpool is down the road, so that isn't like Mancunians and Scousers. That's a rivalry in general outside of football. Now you add the football into it, we despise it. Yeah, it's from a geography standpoint, but for me, growing up, Arsenal were the number one. Arsenal.
And I suppose that rivalry between Liverpool would have been bigger if they were prominent at that time.
Yes.
But because they kind of disappeared from the league, we can say they kind of disappeared from the league for so much years. Maybe that's why that wasn't bigger. Talk to me about how it felt when, from a rival perspective, how it felt when you heard that Chelsea got taken over and Jose Mourinho walked through the door.
Well, I knew
Did
about
you guys
Mourinho.
even bat an eyelid or?
Now, I batted the eyelid because I mentioned Champions League. Some of my worst moments as a Manchester United fan is watching us getting knocked out of Champions League. There's certain Champions League game. We're doing 2024. That 2000, like that one, 2000 when he knocked us out in 2003 with Paul. I'm still not over that.
Yeah.
When we got knocked out by Leverkusen, I'm still not over that. When Robin scored the volley for Bayern Munich, and I think we played you lot either the week before or the week later, and you lot beat us at OT as well. I think it was under Ancelotti, and I felt we'd been beat by Chelsea past and present. I think it was 2012. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in regard to the dates. But yeah, so with Mourinho, I was fully aware of who he was because he had just, not only had he knocked us out of the Champions League, he then won it with Porto. which
With
was the
Porto.
first time he won it with Porto, which was new at that point because the non-traditional, well, I can't say non-traditional, the last non-massive club to win
the
Champions
UCL,
League would have been probably Borussia Dortmund, which is
Yep.
early 90s. Which is, so you got to think 98, 99, 2000, 2001. It's not that. It's all Manchester United are there, Bayern Munich are there, Real Madrid are there, etc. All the Juventus, Inter Milan, AC Milan, etc., etc. So yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, I'm fully aware of who he was. Didn't know too much about Roman Abramovich, and I didn't know what exactly he was gonna do.
So fast forward to that 04-05 season, right? From a rivalry perspective, Chelsea was pulling up trees.
Absolutely.
And at that time, we saw the pendulum shift from Arsenal to Chelsea as their strongest competitors. Can you give us some insight as what's that like as a rival fan at that point for you?
That's one of them. That's where sometimes you just have to. I'd seen it happen before, but now I'm slightly older where a team comes in and a manager comes in and raises the bar and then you have to match it. Like, that's what it is. Like, I'd seen Manchester United be successful early. Arsenal came in and raised the bar. Manchester United had to match it. Arsenal then raised the bar again. Then Manchester United had to match it again. And then Chelsea came in and blew everyone out of the water because what Mourinho had done, and I believe it was his first season. I think he won 9 games out of 9.
Yeah.
Which was
like, straight.
He won 9 games out of 9, which was unheard of. Like, Manchester United were notorious for starting slow under Fergie in the Premier League. And then it's like after Christmas, and then the next year, like once January hits February, we kick on and go on a run. Mourinho stopped all of that because he's fresh. He's straight out the gate. Yeah, 9 games out of 9. Whoa. And the Chelsea team was
you're too far behind. You're not catching us at that point.
Yeah, you're not catching us. Quality, defensively on point, signing quality players. And he won the Premier League for the first. This was the shift to free in midfield, because before that, it's 4-4-2.
You remember?
You had the occasional time where, but Fergie would more do it in Europe, where he played free in midfield. So he might play, I'm taking it back, like a Ronnie Johnson in midfield, for example, in Europe, or he might go Nicky Butt, Paul Scholes, and Roy Keane in midfield. But more time in the Premier League, it's a 4-4-2 era. But he's changed. Mourinho's changed that up, and he's got SCN, Makelele, Lampard in there, and Drogba up top. So it was something different. And you lot raised the bar and defensively as well, on point. Only conceding 15 league goals in the season. Quality. So you look at it and you go, damn, because the season before he did that, Arsenal had won the league. And then you lot won 2 back. And then you lot won back to back. Yeah.
Wasn't it the season before Arsenal went invincible?
Yes, it was the season before that. Yeah. So it was the season before that. Let me just make sure I got that right. I'm just doing a list of champions now just to make sure. I swear that was. People are. Allow me if my memory's not the best, so I'll try and forget the woeful ones. But yeah, I was right in what I was saying about United and Arsenal from literally from 92, 93 to 04. It was Manchester United and Arsenal won all the league titles apart from one. But yeah, I was right. So 03, 04 was Arsenal. Then 04, 05, 05, 06 was you lot. So for the first time in my lifetime, Manchester United have gone 3 seasons without
winning a league title.
Which is crazy. We went 1 year without winning the league title. And this comes to standards. Manchester United went 1 year without winning the league title. It was deemed a crisis. We could go 1 year without winning the league title, win a FA Cup, and the season still deemed a failure. That's how high the standard was. So for Manchester United to go 3 years without a league title, people talking about, is Fergie finished? Is he done? Can he compete with Mourinho? Wenger just went invincible, etc., etc. And that team then was not good. And these are all the conversations that were happening. Roman Abramovich is spending big money. And it was it the overlap? Yeah, it was the overlap when Scholes and Neville, so Neville was interviewing Scholes. And Gary Neville said to Paul Scholes, do you think we're going to win another league title very soon? And they were both like, no. Because of what Arsenal had done and what Chelsea had done. So they had their doubts. People you can watch this is interview when they're on the treadmill, they're in the gym. And they mentioned this, and that's what it was. And look at our team at that point. It all seemed set for Chelsea to dominate at that point.
Yeah, because at that point, not only that, right? Because we're doing it business on the pitch, but see Mourinho in press conference, he was talking spicy, bro. Like that man did not. Jamaicans would have saying brawling, brother. Them man that disrespect anybody. He would the way how he would play with the press.
Man, call him a specialist in failure. Crazy.
Yeah, bro. Like the way how he would just come in and disrespect whoever it was who he didn't deem worthy enough to challenge him.
Absolutely.
At that point, as a Chelsea fan, we're thinking, yeah, man, run time for the blue side to dominate. You know,
Facts.
but
And
boy,
that's what you're thinking. 3 years without it. Because I remember like Mourinho called Wenger a specialist in failure. I remember there was a game, I can't remember what season it was, but it was one of the seasons you won the league. You played us late in the Premier League and you'd already won, and it was our last home game. You beat us 3-1. Thiago scored a goal. And Mourinho said something along the lines of, oh, if this was in Portugal and we tried to go and celebrate with the fans after losing 3-1 to the champions, they would have threw bottles at us and been unhappy. So, yeah, Mourinho was talking extra spicy. Extra spicy. And rightfully so. He was the man at that point. He was the man.
Yeah. He was running it at that point. What? So, from a Chelsea perspective, I'm thinking, oh, we about to dominate. But then Manchester United came back with 2 league titles in our run. What was it like? It's like a comeback. It's like the Undertaker setup. Ding. It's like we ain't done yet.
Facts. It was mad. It was 3 league titles we won, and you never see it coming. Because if I remember correctly, I think he'd sold Ruud van Nistelrooy. Let me double check. I'm literally just checking to make sure I got this right. Because obviously you're younger, so you're much more emotional and much less level-headed and have much less understanding of what's going on. Yeah, I'm right, because he sold him. Yeah, we sold Ruud van Nistelrooy in the summer of 2006, and obviously we went on to win 06, 07 and 3-peat. I'm thinking, what's he doing? Ruud van Nistelrooy,
madman, this
our highest goal scorer, bagging goals, people. Ruud van Nistelrooy was a bagging goals marksman, top marksman. Only striker in the league better than him was Henry, and he was scoring goals. And you're thinking, so we sold Van Nistelrooy, who we bringing in, and he didn't bring in no senior marksman. We had Rooney, who I believe was a teenager at the time, Ronaldo, who was a teenager, and Louis Saha. That was our strike force. That was legit it. And you're just thinking and going, what is going on? But hey, Fergie had the plan. He knew what he was doing because we played better without Ruud van Nistelrooy. Crazy.
Bro, that season, Ronaldo and Rooney, like, bro, no one was expecting them to rise at that season.
No one. I couldn't believe it because, like I said, people think of Cristiano Ronaldo and Rooney now. Back then, Rooney had a little bit of hype because of what he did at Everton, but that was only
the season.
That was only a short stint. He didn't. No one thought, hey, you know what? Rooney gonna be the guy to lead Manchester United to a league title. Ronaldo at that point unknown. Yes, they played us in a preseason friendly, but I'm thinking.
But that's it's a preseason friendly. You couldn't hang your hopes on what Ronaldo could be based off a friendly match.
That's it. It's like, so you literally give the keys to 2 unknowns and 2 youngsters in Rooney and Ronaldo, who, if I remember correctly, I think are probably teenagers. And I'm looking here. Ronaldo had been here. We signed him in 04, and his first 3 seasons. Okay, he had done all right, but he had not done anything special. He was a frustrating player. So he'd been here 3 years, and it's like, okay, nobody seen. Actually, United did. They knew, but from a fan perspective, we didn't see the trajectory he was going to go on, because Carlos Queiroz, who was the assistant at that time, said, if we have him he said this, like, this is after the fact, if we have him for 5 years, we've been lucky. So they know the trajectory he was on. I personally didn't see it. Same with Rooney as well, but it clicked in that season. It clicked.
Yeah, and that at that time it was frustrating because when you think maybe it's our time to dominate, build proper title histories, maybe catch up on some of the trophies. No, you guys came back roaring, and then it was a tussle between the red side and the blue side for a while. Arsenal fell away by the wayside. Yes, Liverpool was non-existent. They were existent in Europe, but we're talking about Premier League now. Talk to me about that time you guys knocked us out, the champions, or beat us in that final. Still pissed. What's it like? What's it like from the winning side perspective as a rival fan?
Your emotions are all over the place because it's high stakes, knockout.
And that time Chelsea were good.
And we was tussling. Not only were we tussling for the Champions League, we battling for the Premier League as well.
And the cups.
So it's like, and we in the cups and everything. So it's and you're facing a very good Chelsea side. Like, I'm fully, even though I'll banter the rivals and I'll run jokes about the manager and the players. There's still a respect there, and I still understand levels. And so going in, but I was confident that season. I thought that was our year. Shout out to my bro Tox, because he'll remember this. From the start of that season, 07-08, I said, this is the year we win the Champions League. I was confident about it. I looked at the team we had. I went, we win the Champions League solely because it was our time and we had a quality outfit. And we had, to me, at that point, the best player in Europe. I don't think Messi was better than Ronaldo that year.
He wasn't. He wasn't. Ronaldo was on a madness that year, bro.
I was confident, like 07-08. We say we got Ronaldo, we got Tevez, we got Rooney, Carrick, Scholes, Giggs is there. Bad boy centre-back partnership in Rio and Vidic, one of the best left-backs in Europe in Patrice Evra.
Vidic, bro.
And
I was a fan of Vidic. I was a fan of Vidic. I hate the team solely because you're talking about my era now, bro. They snatched their chains just when you think you can. You know when you think you can be happy. You're just walking away like you get a patty and a cocoa bread, bro. And you nice, really want it. And you bite it and the patty too hot. And you have to say, oh, I'm glad. You have to wait for eat it. That was me, bro. You gotta wait, bro. There's no areas of dominance.
I've been there with the patty, man. I've been there. You have to. That's what it is. You have to.
Hurry beef. Exactly. So we kind of had to tone it down. That's what I mean, bro. Yeah. Just when you think you can go all in, not much just like no. Just a little bit. Tone it down, you know. So that's where all my emotion when we're having rivalry games come from, and that Champions League final. You cannot tell me Chelsea wasn't not necessarily at the same level, but we were such a good team, bro. Yeah, you
lot were an exceptional team. But here's
it was literally.
But that's the difference between the two. It's literally like this. It's literally like this in terms of it. Like, it was so close in terms of, like, if you do a combined 11, you'd be sitting here arguing for the next 2 hours about combined 11. Because you're going to fight for your players, I'm going to fight for my players in regards to that.
Exactly. Because remember, that year, Barcelona and Real Madrid couldn't touch us in terms of quality. Bro, it was those two teams the entirety of that year. No matter what channel you switched on to, you'd hear mentions of Chelsea and Manchester United for that season. And so I think that was one of the Champions League final where it felt like this is what the final is supposed to be. A team was always going to lose or win. History wrote itself. But when you look at the level and the quality of football, those two deserve to be in the final and the biggest pinnacle of football at that time. Right? Yeah. So, hey, man, I lost. We saw what history is. Congratulations to you and your team. Let's take a step back and get back into the journey of Flawless. Flawless, talk to me about this content creation thing. How did you get introduced to this? What OGs did you see, and when did you decided to give it a shot?
I ain't gonna lie, like, it was an accident. I'd love to sit here and be like, oh, it was a well thought out plan, and this was the idea, and this and that. So, probably like yourself, we were all fans of AFTV. That's the first one. That's the first content creator channel that I see. Like, especially Arsenal in the banter period. That I don't call that the golden era. That was the platinum era. Don't get better. Platinum era. Them getting packed 10-2 by Bayern. Troops just becoming, you know what I'm saying? You got the likes of Troops on there. RIP to Claude, Ty, Don Robbie. Like, the list goes on. The list goes on of those, like, of all the content creators, like, to the point where Arsenal and United are playing the same day. United win, Arsenal lose. I'm looking for AFTV first. So
exactly,
I'm definitely looking for AFTV first, without doubt. So that was like my.
You should have seen me after that Europa League final. Oh, yeah, but we beat them 4-1, bro.
He was a smoke.
The meltdown, bro. The meltdown had me rolling.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, like, and yeah, if that's what it was, that became a thing because that became like bigger than certain mainstream media outlets. Like, I seen big accounts, official accounts talking about, AFTV and chill. You know what I'm saying? And the pictures of everybody on there were waiting for it, especially when they lost. Shout out to Troops, because I say he was the one who spearheaded that. He was like, his attitude era, he like the Rock of that generation. You know what I'm saying? He's the Rock.
He was.
Everyone remembers like his promo. Like, I've told him this. He got fan cams I can do word for word. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a promo from wrestling. It was that good. So that was my first introduction. How about my blood clot, yeah. Last night I was chatting to my mum. You know what I'm saying? She's been getting. Is she mad? Like, I know that. Shout out to Troops. So all of
Shout
that,
out to Truth.
and then after that, like then the United side of things. So you had the United stand, you had Rant, you had Flex, you had Saeed, you had Aaron. I'm like, so I'm watching week in, week out religiously, like all of these AFTV when they lost, and then watching the United stand with all the people I've just mentioned, Nuruddin as well, Aaron, if I didn't mention him, also in there. So that's what it was. So I still had no thought process of, oh, I want to be on this. I'm not going to games. I'm ever like, yeah, let me get into this type of thing. And then what happened was I was on radio, bumped around radio stations because I like being on radio, but it was music. That's what it was. It wasn't a football thing. And then without going, yeah, I used to rap. Not as much now, still occasionally. But even when I was doing this, it was more so they're called, shout out to Mic Check Media. They're a music platform, label, etc. So they had a show on there where they play music. So I just go on there as like to be a DJ, maybe another host and me, and we talk about tunes, talk about talk about the biggest news stories, etc. Because I like to news, etc. Because I like to chat. So I'm like, fair enough. Let's make this work. So boom, bumped around a few radio stations without going into that. Because I'm one of those, once I don't like somewhere I'm at, I'll move. If I don't feel like, I'm not one to sit there and complain or have a meeting and tell you my worth. Not even being big-headed. I know my worth. I know my talent. I know what I bring. So I'm like, you know what? Cool. And stations was moving funny. So then I was no longer on a couple stations because Mic Check moved twice. And then I was like, all right, I want to get back on radio, but I don't know doing what. That was the issue. I knew I didn't want to be a DJ because I'm not a DJ. I'm not invested in music enough to be listening to new music and chatting about it. And I was like, yo, what do I don't know what I want to do. And then it hit me one day and I was like, why I go on radio and talk about football? And then shout out to L Dubs, shout out to my guy Dubs. He's a Mic Check. He's still the owner of Mic Check now, or one of the co-owners. And he messaged me and was like, yo, this new station, Pi Radio, are looking for new shows. So I was like, you know what? What do I have to lose? Message man. It was like, yo, told him the experience, told him the idea. He was like, you know what? Cool. Come in for a meeting. So bam, shout out to Solomon, because Solomon, I've not spoken to him in a minute, but it's still my guy to this day. And what he's done with Pi Radio is incredible because they're now on DAB, now on FM, but at this time it was a smaller station. So I've gone in, had the meeting, and I was like, yeah, I want to do like football content. Bear in mind, I had no name, no idea for co-host, no idea exactly how the show was gonna run, but I was like, let me run it.
Bro, you're just glad for the opportunity.
Yeah, just glad. You know, I'm selling him this. And like Solomon's not a footballing guy, but fortunately enough, Sparks, who's his right hand man, who's still there, he is a football guy, so he kind of gets it. So he was like, "You just gonna talk about football for an hour?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "So you don't need no music, nothing else, no breaks, no nothing." I was like, "We got this." He was like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, we got this." He was like, "All right, boom." Hit me back with all the details in regards to day, host, etc., etc. So then I'm like, "All right, I gotta come up with it." So I remember putting out the video. So I left the station. I left the Pi Radio for the meeting, and I put out a video on my socials, and I was like, yo, I'm going to be starting a radio show talking about football, who wants in, and all this, and all of this, and explaining it. And initially, I wanted a Liverpool fan and an Arsenal fan, but I didn't want it to be Manchester United Central. That's why I was like, okay, if I go and get another United fan, I wanted it to be mixed. But what's crazy is the first person who hit me up was my guy JV. And like I say, JV, I mentioned Fabian Brandy earlier, who was a professional at United and went on to play for. That's his cousin, but I've known JV for years, like way, way, way back. But we hadn't spoken in a minute. Hilarious son. And as soon as he hit me, the light bulb went off, and I said, "I'm bringing you in." He's like, "I want in." I said, "All right, cool." Then I was like, "Okay, we got 2 United fans. Who's the third person we're gonna get?" And that was the struggle. And I was like, "Yo, who do I get?" Because 1, it had to be someone who's Manchester based because we're going to be live in the studio. And 2, it had to be someone who had the skill set to fit. Not only have the knowledge about the game, but also can run jokes and bants, etc. Because like who? And then shout out to my brother Tox. And he was like, what about Stro? And Stro's someone who we know from battle rap, but very knowledgeable. Liverpool fan. The only bad thing about him, but that's my bro still to this day. That's the
only problem.
Yeah, that's the only problem. But like when it comes to like football and like stats, has it to a T. You know what I'm saying? So he was kind of like, so Tox was like, hit up Stro. I was like, I never thought of Stro, you know. So I hit up Stro, and I was like, Stro, are you in on this and and all this? He's like, yeah. Bear in mind, I've not told him who the other host is, and he's like, all right, I want in. So then we come up with we're bouncing off names, come up with the name from a third eye view because there's 3 of us. So I'm like, it makes sense. Bird's eye view, third eye view. We
Third
come up
eye
with
view.
that.
Play on words.
So then we meet, and then what the crazy is, actually now we was all in the group chat. So Stro and Tox, Stro and Tox, Stro and JV are having conversations. We're all in there. We come up with the name. So then, boom, we get to the station, do the first show, hour. Instantly, I was like, we onto something. It just clicked like that.
Yeah, when chemistry did
the
you can
chemistry
tell.
just clicked, like, because it was just the perfect blend. Like, what's crazy is I'm doing the hosting, I'm setting up the shows, I'm segueing. You got JV, who is who's a very knowledgeable Manchester United fan, but hilarious. His jokes are like just on point, and the way he'll hit you with the truth, but the analogy lands. But not only does the analogy land perfectly, it's hilarious, and that has me cracking up. And then on the flip side, you got Stro, he's not just Liverpool. He's not just Manchester United. He could tell you the details of the championship side. He's one of them, what I call them aliens. So I'm saying, you know, like you got Kaneki, Jez and Strasbourg Steve. Like I call them man Strasbourg Steve, Jez and Kaneki. I call them man aliens. So them man's knowledge of football outside of their own teams and outside the, and Stroll's one of them, which is what crazy, because when I did the Yardman show, I was like, that's just it's the same profile. When I did when I do the Yardman show, I'm like, yo, it's literally the same profile. Kaneki is like Stro, JV is like Lex, which is mad, but that's a whole different conversation. So then we're onto something, so it clicks. And then Solomon, who's obviously the Pi Radio owner, he's seen it and he was like, oh, we're onto something. And plus we're reliable as well. So we're there week in, week out, every Monday, hour, doing the show every week. We're coming in with information. Stroll's got the sheets printed out with the stats. And even though Manchester United are doing bad, because at this point, I'd stopped watching Manchester United actually because we were this bad. So I'd stopped watching us live. So I had to get back into watching us live, and we're having great conversations. Clips are being cut up. People are on the comment section, etc., etc. So yeah, that was good. And then I'll never forget doing the show. Have we gone to 2 hours? I think we had been maybe we'd been extended at this point or not, because initially the show was 1 hour, then it went to 2 hours because we couldn't get all the information. We couldn't do all the topics in 1 hour because it's the whole Premier League weekend plus extras as well, plus Champions League, for example. And I never forget it. United had played the day before. So no, United had played on a Saturday. Can't remember who we played. And like I said, I'm a fan of the content creator space. So I'm watching United fans. So I'm watching Aaron, I'm watching Saeed, I'm watching Rants, Flex, all their fan cams, etc. So then I've gone to sleep. And then I woke up to a message the next day of Solomon, and he goes, oh, this guy contacted the radio station. He's seen the clip. He rates you. He wants to come on the show. Do you know him? And he sent me the picture, and the picture was of Aaron Sakaya, Mr. Aaron United, which is mad. Bear in mind, the day before, I'd just been watching him.
Yeah, man, you watch them, man.
And then he'd contacted the station, so I'm like, whoa, what? I was like, yeah, I know his face, but I don't know him personally. So Solomon's like, yeah, boom, he dropped me your number. He said, ring him. So then the next day we out somewhere, was doing something, and I've rang him and I've gone, yes, Aaron, what you saying? It's Flawless Road to the Turf on the station. He's like, yo, I seen the clip. I fucks with it. That's why I wanted to come on the station. I said, more than fine, because at this point we weren't even doing special guests. We weren't even special guests coming on at that point. It was just us three. I was like, yeah, feel free. Next Monday, if you're free, whatever time it was, I think it was 7 till 9. Come on, I was like, yo, are you bringing Saeed and Nuruddin with you? Or is it just you? He's like, I'm bringing those two with me. Oh, bet. We got clear. Not only is Aaron pulling up, he's bringing Saeed and Nuruddin with him.
They asked him, man, make it here. No, we outside.
It was. So then we knew it was like, we're on to something. So I'm gassed, JV's gassed, Stroll's gassed as well. They come in, do the show. Obviously that helps us, that helps us in terms of the show and our notoriety. And then what even helped even more, we've done the show. And then I think even 2.5 hours later, we're still at Pi Radio off air chatting. We just chopping it up like that ice. JV always says it immediately. At that point, that ice is broken right there. We're chopping it up like we've known each other for years. Like Solomon always makes a joke about like me and Aaron. He's like, yo, you two are like best friends now. Bear in mind, I'd only knew him like a few weeks when he had said this, but I'm very grateful to people when they do things for me because I know I'm not owed anything. I don't have entitlement. Aaron doesn't have to do that. He don't have to call the station. He could have seen the clip rated what we said and kept scrolling on Instagram. Or you could have liked it. I could have kept it stepping. He didn't have to. He went out of his way, Aaron, to contact the station. Bear in mind, we're nowhere near his level at this point. Nowhere. And Aaron's still gone clear. Aaron still levels above. Shout out to Mr. Aaron United. I always say it all the time. Salute to him. I'm forever indebted to him because of what he did for me. He was the one who put me on initially. I say this all the time. So then that's happened. Then we started getting more guests. And then COVID hit around this time. So then COVID hit like 2021. So everyone's in the house. But me and Aaron and Saeed and Nuruddin were all still cool. But in particular, me and Aaron, because like I said, because of what he did. Once you do something for me forever, like still to this day when I see Aaron, I'm like, yo, love for everything you did for me because you put me up. You know what I'm saying? You gave me the platform. So then COVID hits, everyone's inside, and then everyone's just, so this is slightly before live streaming. So everyone's doing like we're on now, or people are doing Zoom. So this is before live streaming and StreamYard. And Aaron's gone, do you want to come on the channel? Of course. You know what I'm saying? You have to ask me twice. Brother.
Right,
of
no.
course. So Zoom, we do the first one. And then he's like, all right, do you want to come on tomorrow? Because bear in mind, again, everybody's inside. No one's doing that. Everyone's on furlough.
So what else are you going to do?
Well, so then it became a thing where I'm just on there every day. You know what I'm saying? Every day I'm on there. Saeed's on there. Nuruddin's on there. JV's on there. Stroll's on there. Others are on there. We just doing content daily. Just day in, day out. So that was my first initial. And obviously, that's when I'm starting to get notoriety because of him. Because he's one of the biggest voices in the space. So people see me there every day type of thing. So that's where my initial start was in the content creator space.
Okay, good. Really good story. I'm looking at the timer. I have so much questions to ask. But
it's cool, fam. We can run it.
What? Huh?
I said, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? However much time you need, fam, I'm here.
That given the start, and at what point did you kind of branch out to Sarcasm City TV?
So here's the thing is, Sarcasm City TV was a thing before me getting into the content creator space. So initially, shout out to my bro Talks. We set that up as a podcast, once a week, audio, no visual, just to talk rubbish and get things off our chest. So it's where I have it, like, that's my bro, known him for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, his sons and my nephews, they call me uncle. Like, this is how close we are. My family knows his family, type of thing. And these are just conversations we was having. And we was like, you know what? This would sound good on a podcast. Because anytime we're out and we're having conversations, and it's not just me and him, it's the others who are out with us as well, random people will be laughing at what's going on. So we'll be on the bus or we'll be in the shop and we having conversations and people are cracking up about the conversations we have. Because we just jokers like that. So then I was like, all right, you know what? Let's start a podcast. Why not? So then we initially, before it was Sarcasm City TV, it was the Sarcasm City podcast. So then we got into battle rap. So I'm battle rapping, Tox is battle rapping, etc. Then because of that, the podcast became more battle rap, UK battle rap orientated. And they was the topic of conversations. Then I started battle rapping a little bit less, as did Tox. But then here's how things go full circle. We got into the media side of things. So one of the companies who was there then was like, hey, we want you lot to be like the match of the day for our battles and our content. So then we just commentating, doing previews, doing recaps, etc., as part of the staff. So that's where Sarcasm City was. So it was the Sarcasm City podcast. Then it was still the podcast, but it wasn't current affairs, even though we did the occasion. We did sometimes we'd go into the current affairs thing, or sometimes it was both, where we do the current affairs and we do the battle rap as well. But then as Tox got busier, I got busier, and then we moved away from battle rap. It was just there. You know what I'm saying? The Sarcasm City TV, and it was just there as the Sarcasm City podcast, sorry. And it wasn't really anything I was taking serious like that. It was more hobby. It was nothing serious like that. But then because of getting into the content creator space and then seeing like the response I was getting, and then I'd have the occasional shout out to Usman Talks United because he's doing big things now. He was the first person who reached out to me to be a special guest on his platform. And I was shocked. So I seen the message. He was like, "Oh, I seen you on such and such. Do you want to be a special guest on my show?" And I had to, when you look at a message and have to reread it. And I was like, "Who did that?" I was looking around. Like,
somebody else forget this.
Yeah.
Somebody else should be.
I was like, to me, because it's foreign, I'm like, why? So I'm just thinking we just talking football. Bear in mind, I'm not really paying too much attention to everything else that's going on. So yeah, that's when it hit me. I was like, oh, people. And then as the following grows on the social, that's when I was like, all right, let's turn Sarcasm City TV into something. Because bear in mind, we're still doing From a Third Eye View at this point. I was like, all right, let's do something. And that's how the Man Them United podcast became a thing, which was initially me and JV, which was the United podcast. And then it kicked on from there.
Okay, nice. Bringing it back to Manchester United, your boyhood club. Earlier in this conversation, you mentioned something regarding the 1 year that Manchester United didn't win the league title for 2 years. Previously, they didn't win it for 1 year, and it was a crisis. What is it like in this current era? Because let's bring it back to modern times now. What is it like from your generation seeing Manchester United go so long without a league title, seeing them not be dominant, and on top of that, seeing the blue side, the quote-unquote noisy neighbors running it?
That's what makes it worse, that it's them. But unfortunately, football goes in cycles. And that's why when it's your cycle, you have to enjoy all the success. This is why I celebrate every trophy. Even the Carabao Cup we won 2 years ago, people are like, why are you celebrating that? We went 6 years without a trophy. Say we could go 6 years beyond this. Fortunately enough, we won the FA Cup the year after. But celebrate every trophy. But in regards to it, horrible. Having seen your team be so dominant and now see it be nowhere near domination. We haven't been in a legitimate title race since winning the league title. Horrible. 100%. We lived like a king for years. We were
broke man.
Now we broke.
Them for the roadside.
Now we broke. That's what it's like. Imagine being a billionaire for years. Then all of a sudden, all your money's gone and you're not broke, but you're on minimum wage. And you're getting by, but it's nowhere near
compared to where you guys were.
Compared to where you were. You broke compared to what we was. Like, we was used to caviar and lobster every day. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was.
Every day.
Every day. The finest of the finest things. Now it's, you know what I'm saying? Now it's noodles. You know what I'm saying?
Man now, used to wear Rolex and Cartier and now can't even buy an Apple Watch.
Nah, you see what I'm saying? Now it's Happy Meals in the bus. You know what I'm saying? It's McDonald's Happy Meals and ride, and that's no disrespect. I don't drive people, so that's no disrespect. But that's where Manchester United have fallen from. Mm-hmm. That's where Manchester United have fallen from. So absolutely horrible. And I see it in the fan base in terms of I'm less accepting of people who accept mediocrity who are from my generation. I'm like, if you've seen what I've seen, and this is why I have debates with people, I'm like, you're either my age, slightly older, or slightly younger. You've seen us be successful. How are you accepting 8 with a minus goal difference? How are you accepting our worst ever Champions League campaign? How are you accepting our worst ever Premier League Champions League campaign under Ollie, getting packed at home by Liverpool? How are you accepting this? At that time, when we finished 7th under Ollie, our worst ever Premier League campaign. How are you accepting? Now, if you're slightly younger, I get it. Because if I was slightly younger, you're going to be more emotional. Yes, you're going to be more prone to being emotional. So yeah, it's horrible seeing Manchester United like this. But that's where I remain level-headed and balanced and go, we're not going to get back there. We're not built to dominate. Now I hope that changes, and hopefully any of us do more and change my mind on that. But what we can do is go and compete. So I look here and go, all right, forget back-to-backs, forget free-peating, go and compete. Build us back up to then go and win a Premier League. Get us back to winning, or not even winning, competing for Champions League. We ain't been in the last stages of the Champions League in a long time. I don't remember the last time we was in the Champions League.
From my side, it feels so good, bro. It feels so good to see you guys suffer.
Yeah, see, you love it, and this is it. Fans love it. I can't remember the last time we was in the Champions League semi-final. The last final we was in was 2011. Was the last final.
Damn.
That's terrible when we got beat by Barcelona. That's in 2024.
That is terrible.
The last semi-final, I don't know if we've been in a semi-final since then. I think Moyes reached a quarter-final. Mourinho may have reached a quarter-final in the Champions, but it's few and far between. We're talking 2 to 3 quarter-finals in the last 10 to 15 years. It's outrageous.
It's not good enough. For a club of your stature, it is simply not good enough. When under Ten Hag, under that terrorist era, because even I as a rival fan have to admit it, but that man was a terrorist of football, bro.
Absolutely.
When he got hired, the talk around him at that time was similar to the talks around Ruben Amorim. With the only caveat is that Amorim is younger and he's showing more of a bravado as to what Ten Hag was. So around the time that Ten Hag got hired, I'm assuming you were positive at that time.
Absolutely.
Right?
Because of what I'd heard about him, I'd done much less research on Ten Hag. I wasn't like, go and get me him, but he'd done enough. His CV was enough, and what people were saying were, I'll give a manager a chance. For me to not give a manager a chance, you have to be horrible. The only manager I was ever manager out before he got the job was Moyes. Because Moyes was never good.
He was just not supposed to be there.
He wasn't
was just not supposed.
I'm cool. Like Van Gaal, I was cool given a chance to. Mourinho, I was cool given a chance to. Oli, they jumped the gun. They shouldn't have listened to the fans because we went on a good run. That's on them. Because I was saying at that point when Ollie's smacking teams left, right, and centre. I'm saying when we go into London, beating you lot twice, we beat you lot in the Prem and the FA Cup, beating Arsenal. We're the Kings of London at that point. I think we won 8 league games in a row, but they should have waited. Ollie should have never got the job. Ten Hag, I was fine giving a chance to, and he did all right. He did well in his first season. I had no complaints, but then it fell away. So yeah, with that, Ten Hag, and that's a lazy, not from you, but people use that lazy argument. And what's crazy, Saeed just put out a video about this today that I was watching earlier. I didn't watch the full thing, but I was watching some of it, and people were talking about, oh, you'll be Amorim out in 2 years. If Saeed is Amorim out in 2 years, guess what that means, people? Ruben Amorim
just wasn't good enough.
Wasn't good enough and hasn't done his job. Why is that Saeed's fault? That makes no
any content creator's fault
whatsoever. Why is it any content creator or any fans' fault? Because people keep saying this, oh, you'll be here in 2 years. Well, guess what? That means the manager wasn't good enough. We're not the only team who are going through a dry spell, people. Manchester United haven't won the league title since 2013. It's 2024. That's 11 years. Chelsea's last league title was what, 5-6 years ago?
16,
was it 6 years ago? 6-7 years ago?
Pep's first season.
So 6-7 years ago was Chelsea's last league title. Liverpool have won in 34 years. Spurs haven't won it in however long. Arsenal haven't won it in 20 years.
20 plus years.
21 years because they ain't going to win it this season. 21. So why is it just Manchester United that seem to be when Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool and Spurs are all struggling? The only team who's actually reached success at a dominant level is Manchester City. But it's like you can't keep sacking managers. What?
No, bro, if it's not working, you gotta. I never understood that logic.
Understood that. Absolute foolish logic. Makes no sense.
A foolishness that, bro, because, all right, if you're talking to Chelsea fans about it, every Chelsea fan can admit we were probably kind of too harsh. But the way how other clubs do it, you give them some form of time. If with the time you're given, you don't do anything with it, what are you supposed to do?
Supposed to stay
there. The definition of madness is like doing the same thing each time and expecting a different result. Exactly. Madness, that, brother.
Foolishness. It's like being in a relationship and staying with the girl because it might not work out with the next girl. What kind of nonsense is that? But when you met her and you lot were talking and you went on the first date, you thought this was one for the ages. You thought you lot were going to be together forever, marriage, kids, house, white picket fence with a dog, the whole nine. You thought it was going to be that. Guess it. You know what I'm saying? Guess what? With maybe 2 dogs. You know what I'm saying? And a cat. Like maybe it was that. Like that's what you think initially. Like unless you've married George and are still with your childhood sweetheart, which is very, very rare for most of us, then you have to move on. That's why I always say, oh, you can't. So you just stay with the same girl, even though it's not working. No, you don't.
Exactly.
That's why some of you are your second wife or third wife. How many girlfriends you had in your lifetime? Nonsense. So yeah, with Amorim, I'm hoping he's right.
I think we hit a button, people. I think that question pisses him off.
Yeah, it annoys me. I'm all for hearing the other side, and I'm open for when people can like poke holes in my argument. Cool. But when people just make foolish statements, I'm going to call it out.
Yeah, bro.
You can't keep sacking managers.
Yeah, what you're supposed to do.
Like from Sir Matt Busby to Sir Alex Ferguson. You know what Manchester United did? Sacked managers because it wasn't working. I actually found this book that my pops gave me that I forgot was up here until I was cleaning. And it's literally a chapter in the book that says all the dark days of Manchester United. Here it is. It's right up here in this book. Oh, it is. Well, okay. Look, and there's literally a chapter in it that says Manchester United, the dark days or something like that. Because it's from the start of the club up until like the third year. And I forgot I had it because I was cleaning. And it's literally a chapter. Let me actually say it. Here it is. Literally, the dark ages finding Busby's successor.
Mm.
That's a chapter in the book that it says right here. What are we talking
Yeah.
about here? People like Manchester
It's
United
another
haven't been here
chapter
before.
now. That chapter kind of repeated itself because wouldn't you say it's dark days finding
it's the dark
Fergie's
ages.
successor?
Yeah, and that's where we're at. We're trying to find the next successor. People say, "Oh, you won't find another Fergie." Not necessarily, but let's get someone who's close.
No,
because they would have said
when
after
people
Sir
say
Matt
that,
Busby, there wouldn't be someone as successful as Sir Matt Busby. Fergie was more successful than Matt Busby.
When people say that, all right, let's use that as an example. When people say you will never find another Fergie, and I'm saying, my typical response is, I hope, because I want the next manager to be him himself. Find success with your philosophy. You get where I'm coming from? People like Fergie, Jose Mourinho in his prime, one of a kind. I don't want to replicate that. That taints his legacy. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So that speech never made sense to me. The reason why I asked that is what game or what was the turning point where you were like, get this bald fraud out of my club? What was that? All right. What was that breakdown moment that drove you? I'm done.
Just seeing an accident. If my mic sounds funny, it's because I'm using the wrong mic, people, but we move. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're good, man. The audio's fine.
Am I good? All right, cool. Just making sure because it said I can't switch mics. So I was just checking in. But all right, as long as you say we good and it sounds clear first. What was the question about? When did I say get rid of Ten Hag?
Yeah. What was the moment where you were like, nope, I'm done. Get this fraud out of our club?
The Palace game. The Palace game, because we played Palace back to back.
Last year. The 4.
No, not the 4-0. Earlier. The home game. Because what happened was, because we played Palace in the League Cup at home. And then midweek, and then the following weekend, we played Palace in the league. The Palace Cup game, the Palace Cup game, we played exceptionally well in that game. One of the few performances last season under Ten Hag where we played exceptional. He switched the team up, and we played very, very well. And I said, if he switches up this team on the weekend, bear in mind, we've just beaten Palace and we're playing Palace again. Yes, they'll make changes, but that team has played very, very well, the team we picked. And the games before that, the players hadn't played well. Them players deserve a shot at Palace on merit. He switched the team up. We lost the game. I said, yeah, I'm done. That was the game. It was already teetering on the edge. That was the game.
So that was the game. Yeah, because that
was like, you can't do that. You can't play the same team twice. You play very well, beat them. I think we beat them 3-0 in the League Cup.
Yeah.
And then we lost 1-0 on the weekend. I think it was that. We double check that.
Bro,
I swear it was that.
There's no way to justify him changing a winning formula. That's nonsensical for any fan. Yeah, bro. So we saw that what that was. I'm not gonna go for the journey with Ten Hag. I'm not gonna put you through PTSD. I saw your reaction.
To cut you off, 3-0 we beat Palace 26th of September, and then the 30th of September we lost 1-0 at home to them. Yeah. So I was smart. Yeah. I was just making sure. But go on, carry on.
Yeah. I watched the content. You were the happiest man alive when it was announced he was leaving. Talk us through that. At that
Freedom.
Because remember, a few weeks before, Said was in the parking lot wanting to fight right down people.
Flex. Come to the parking lot.
Flex and KG finally said, get this man out of my club. It was turmoil. I'm over here happy as hell. Yes, the club I hate the most is dying. And then, and let me preface this, because we're going to get back into your reactions, because I want people to understand. At this point, Chelsea are beating who they're supposed to beat, right? At this point, remember, we had a crap season 2 seasons in a row. And me not being able to celebrate a win at Manchester United for 11 years. So I'm bubbling. I'm coming in. And you remember, I coming in on the train. Yes, my time. And then these guys go ahead and do what they were supposed to do. I'm going to be honest. He was supposed to leave with Pochettino. I'm going to call a spade a spade. You're supposed to dip with Pochettino. But I'm like, okay, it's our time. These motherfuckers decided to sat Ten Hag before our game, right? And I'm like, cool. Anytime I see, it's the first thing I see in the morning, and I'm like, you know what? It's too early to get emotional and hammed up and pissed off. And then I flick my YouTube on X and I see this man, bro. People, I see this man, happy as all hell. Saeed, eating biryani freely, right?
Really?
Brother, I was waiting to say our bumbuckler rice and peas when we beat them this Sunday, you know, brother. And the man them flop me show, bro. The man them flop me show. Seeing this man happy. But I'll let you go, Flawless. I'm sorry.
That's cool. I get that annoyance because what's crazy is shout out to Lewis because that's my G. Someone else who's helped me tremendously in this space. He called it. He was like, "You're gonna sack him before we play you lot and get a new manager back." Because you did it previously, and he was like, "I'm shook that you're gonna do it again," and we did it again. Over the moon. You know why? Because it was out of the blue. After we lost to West Ham, there was zero conversation about him leaving. I had already accepted at that point he's here for the long haul. When I say that, a few months at least. I was like, I don't know when we're going to sign him. I was like, clearly there's no bar. And there was no conversation about it. The mainstream media wasn't talking about it. Content creators weren't talking about it. It wasn't trending. Nothing. There was zero. There was no talking point about it. And then I wake up.
Silence.
Shout out to my young G, Matthew. I just see that he's the first message I seen at the top. And he was on, shout out to Matthew, that's my G. He's like, he's gone. So I'm like, whoa, what? And then I messaged him back and went, you're lying. No way is he gone. He's like, nah, he's gone. Trust me, Flawless. And then he sent me the message. He sent me the picture of it, the official statement. I'm over the moon. And then the second message I see, you know what I'm saying, is from Troops. And Troops is like, yo, he's gone. He's been sacked. You pussy on. I was like, yo, you just call me a pussy on for no reason.
Yo, Troops different than you.
For no reason, Troops called me a pussy on. Bear in mind, before I responded to it, he's like, yeah, I knew you'd be happy. So then, boom, obviously, he's like, yeah, you knew you'd be happy. No joy. He was like, you pussy on. I thought I didn't even say nothing back to you. So then, obviously, my phone was going crazy. Notifications on WhatsApp, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Everyone's talking about it. You mentioned the likes of Saeed. Everyone's group chats are going crazy. So then that's when I'm like, all right, let me get to my Twitter. Let me get to my gram. I'm about to dance on this guy's grave. And that's exactly what I did. Let me fire up all my memes, all my videos. Yeah, man, 100, let me fire. Because I got so much criticism and critique for criticizing Ten Hag. Even in this summer just gone. People were telling me we could do something with this team. I said, we ain't doing anything with this manager involved. Even the last season, even when he got his contract extension. The amount of times I'd receive criticism for criticizing him. And when I'm on other people's channels, I don't read the comment section, but like Lewis may tell me something, Kaneki may tell me something. And even Lewis was like, yeah, the criticism you would get on back again at times from the chat, like, oh, this guy's not a real United fan. Or what was it? Yeah, he's not a real United fan. He's just doing this for views. He don't want what's best for the team, all this rubbish. Because you want to back this crap. Manager's rubbish. I don't know why man can't accept that the manager's rubbish.
Back foolishness, bro. Like, and it is what it is. So some of these fans, I genuinely feel like once you are a part of their club, they're just going to back you fully. You know, so like, I get it and I understand it. They play for your club, they're a manager for your club, no matter what, they're going to back you. But at some point, us fans have to hold them accountable. This is the standard. You don't drop below it. And it is what it is, bro. But as much as this pains me to say it, Amorim is told to be a good coach. I did my research on him because he was linked with Chelsea in the past. Yeah. You guys have players suited for a back three.
Yes.
He's going to help you guys when it comes onto the transitional play and you guys going forward. Defensive stability is where he's going to work on first. Then we'll go forward. So Manchester United is going to be a bigger headache than I thought this season. But move, bro. Congratulations. We both got rid of our terrorists over the past 2 years. So it is what it is.
Satan himself, man. Oh, Lord. I'm so glad he's gone. Still over to me. I'm still celebrating. This is why I put it out every week. Every Monday, I put out a week. It was the 1 week anniversary, the 2 week, 3 week anniversary of him gone. Yeah, 100%. I'm going to carry on.
Yeah. Just before we wrap up here, if you could have a sit down with Ineos, right? Sit down, proper sit down. They're going to take what you say into consideration. What's one rebuttal you would give to them, and what's one thing that they've done so far that you would question?
What's wrong when you say one rebuttal? What do you mean? Like in regards to something they've done? What would I
something they've done already, and you're like, I don't agree with this. You should have done this way, you know.
Yeah, one I'd say is if you want what's best for Manchester United Football Club, why did you do a deal with the Glazers? Why did you take over? Why did you make an offer? You have said, like they've said in passing, they directly called out the Glazers, but how much of a mess Manchester United are, how far we are behind on and off the pitch. That is mainly due to the Glazers, because that's been under their ownership. But yeah, you went and did a deal with them. So I don't like Ineos from the jump. The fact that they did a deal.
Okay, so you don't like them at all?
Nah, I'm not a fan. I've not been a fan. One of the very few. Like I've been very vocal about this, about not liking it. I'm not a fan at all. You telling me you want what's best for Manchester United Football Club, but do a deal with the people who have left us who have us in the state we're in. One thing, Manchester United fans don't agree on anything. Actually, I tell a lie. One thing, universally, all Manchester United fans agree on: fuck the Glazers. One thing you will never hear a Manchester United fan say is, "Oh yeah, I like the Glazers. Oh, they've done a great job." When we win in spite of them, because they're not trying to do what's best for Manchester United Football Club from a footballing perspective. So I look at Ineos and go, "You've just done a deal with let's just take it out of footballing things. If you have an enemy and someone does a deal with your enemy, are you gonna fuck with them?
Hell no.
That's it. You went and did a deal with them. On the good side of what they've done, they have added footballing structure. They have brought in a DOF, a COO, a CEO, a technical director. Eventually got to Amarim, even though I don't give them credit for putting out fires they started, because they should have just got Amarim in the summer.
Well, fires they continued with.
Yeah. Fires they continue with. You had everything. So at the recruitment, I would say I do like how we bought and how we sold. I like in the summer. The only question mark I have over the players we signed is Yoro's yet to be seen because he's not played yet. But Delit, Mazarari, Agate, all good. I don't think we got bumped for any of them. There's none of them I look at and go, that was a steep price for that. Mazarari, to me, in terms of value for money, has been the best signing of the season. It's 12 million.
Yeah, he's been good because he could play multiple positions.
Yeah, he can play. It's for 12 million. That's an absolute steal, Mazarari, for what we bought him for. If it was 112 million, whole different conversation. But it's 12 million, and we did the business.
If you guys spent 112 million on Mazarari, just cancel.
Yeah, just it is. And I'm over exaggerating to make the point, but yeah, that's what it is. Let's say it was 62 million. I'd be like, well, for 12 million, and that's the type of foolish deals we've done. Not to that extent, but foolish deals. So I'd say,
I know what you mean. Like overspend on some players, like Anthony and whatnot.
Yeah, bought well and sold well, I'd say. But yeah, if I had one thing, I'd be like, why did you not take over the club? Why did you not let Sheikh Jazim do it and just let him have 100%? But we know why.
Okay.
Just ain't about what's the best. It's not about what's the best interest of Manchester United Football Club. It's what's the best interest of you, which is cool.
They're mostly about the money. You can't even say the business side because they try to pocket. They try to make a profit to put back in their pocket. But yeah, Flawless. I know we're running short on time, so I'm gonna wrap up here. Thank you. Thanks for coming through, brother. Thanks for giving us an insight on your football. And yeah, thank you guys for joining us on the Final Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Yes. Flawless, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, people. That's me, Flawless. You can see it on the screen right there. That's on Twitter and Instagram, my personal account. Follow at SarcasmCityTV across all socials. But yeah, subscribe to SarcasmCityTV on YouTube. Follow SarcasmCityTV on Playback. Not just Premier League and football. We got NBA content, UFC content, NFL, Formula One. Yeah, NBA. Make sure you lock in for that as well.
It's a sports channel, people. If you like sports, check it out. Yeah, bless up again, Flawless. Thank you for joining us, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.